So I'm just out here preparing the garden for the storm that's coming in next week. Let me just show you what I'm doing here. It's easy when you have containers because you can move them around as needed. In my case, I have a garage, so I will be putting all of these containers in my garage. If I didn't have a garage, I would put them in some type of covered enclosure, screen enclosure, or front or back patio, something that has a cover. With the plants that I have in ground, like these fruiting trees, I have a mulberry, a cherry tree. Back here, all the way in the back, I have a banana and a papaya. So for these trees, what I'll do is I'll most likely stake them up to support them on all sides so that they don't blow over with the strong winds. I understand papayas and bananas have a shorter, shallow root system, so they're more prone to flying over or, getting pulled up out of the ground during storms and hurricanes. This trellis is already secured to the ground pretty well with T-posts on both sides. So I'm not too concerned about this trellis here. I have another trellis that I purposely left bare because of our move. I'm not going to plant anything here. And so because there's nothing here, the wind can easily blow through this structure, and it's already supported really well with T-posts all the way to the end. So I'll probably just leave this alone. Here's what we've done in preparation for fall. Here are the seeds that we started within the last week or so. What I planted from seed was cayenne peppers, which have not emerged yet. They haven't sprouted up. The Everglades tomatoes back here, ají dulce peppers, and red onions in here. Spinach, radishes. I have a few radishes growing in several containers, and I'm actually doing all of this in containers specifically because of our move. Here we have more radishes growing around the edge of the container. This is fennel in the middle. I've got Yukon Gold potatoes, some celery, more Everglades tomatoes, got red cabbage, ginger, sweet potatoes over here. I will be starting more, hoping to transition to the new house before I start more. I'd rather plant in ground for some of these root crops that I'm planning on growing, but I may end up having to switch over to containers, like for instance our carrots, things like that, the garlic. But yeah, that's what we have going on so far. I recently removed a plant from this 20-gallon container during the end of summer because it was struggling with the heat. So what I'm doing is loosening the soil and adding nutrients back into it. I'm using an organic fertilizer from Azure Standard with an NPK of 432. While the nitrogen level in the fertilizer is low, the sweet potatoes will still benefit from a higher phosphorus and potassium level. So for that, I will add bone meal and dried up, ground up banana peels to the soil once the plants sprout up. Now, some of these sweet potatoes have sprouted eyes already, so I'm making sure to plant them deep and with the eyes facing up. Some of them haven't sprouted yet, and that's okay. I'm still planting them. Two things can happen with that. One, they either sprout underground and become plants, which happened to me the first time I planted them, or two, they don't sprout and they end up decomposing in the soil, which is still good because it'll become free fertilizer and provide nutrients to the existing plants. So what I'll do is I will add more soil on top of this, and I have a mixture of compost that I made and a little bit of our native sandy soil. I'm just going to mix in a little bit more fertilizer. This is a very gentle, slow release fertilizer. I also get my bulk organic groceries from this company, so I'll link them in the description box. I'm adding a tag to this so I don't forget what I planted here. And I'm adding some water to it just to keep it moist. And now we wait. One thing that I forgot to mention here is I just noticed that this banana, I had planned on moving it to the new location, the new property. But I don't think I'll be doing that. I think I'll leave this here for the new owners, whoever ends up purchasing our current home, and I will bring these pups with me. So it looks like this banana had two pups, one right here and one right there. So I will wait until they are about, I would say safe would be 2 feet, but I'll probably wait until they're about 3 feet tall before I remove them from the mother plant, just to let them establish a nice root system so that they can survive that transplant. So I'll be removing these later on, potting them up, and then bringing them to the new house instead of trying to bring this one here, which was my initial plan.